the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2, in conjunction with Colfax High School, presents Viking pregame. A look at today's Colfax Vikings boys game. And now, Viking pregame.
Good evening and welcome to the NLWN2 studios. Rick Olson here, and tonight the 1-3 Colfax Vikings are getting ready to open their 2023-2024 Dunn St. Croix Conference schedule as they have traveled to Durand, Wisconsin to take on the 2-1 Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. The Vikings are going to try to build on their 62-56 hard-fought win over the Whitehall Norse back on Monday, while the Panthers look to bounce back from their 72-62 loss to the Arcadia Raiders also on Monday. Now, in tonight's edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Knoll's perspective on tonight's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, our broadcast crew will bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So, it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's Dunn St. Croix Conference opener between the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers and the Colfax Vikings. The 1-3 Vikings are hoping to open their conference schedule on a positive note following their 63-56 victory over the Whitehall Norse last Monday. In that game against Whitehall, the Vikings were led in scoring by 5'11 junior Aiden Fisher, who hit on 4 field goals, including 2 3-pointers, and went 8 for 9 from the free throw line for 18 points. He was followed by 6'3 senior Eli Ralph, who hit on 7 field goals for 14 points. 5'9 senior Elijah Ensminger also contributed by hitting 4 field goals and going 5 for 5 from the charity stripe for 13 points. Sophomore Orion Nichols was the 4th Viking to score in double digits by nailing 6 field goals and going 1 for 2 from the line for 13 points. Now, last season, the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers finished in 2nd place in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. They come into tonight's game with a 2-1 record following their 72-62 loss to the Arcadia Raiders on Monday. In that effort against Arcadia, the Panthers were led by 6'6 senior Ethan Hurlburt with 28 points. He was followed by 5'10 junior Parker Olmstead, who added 15. So far this season, the Panthers are being led in scoring by Hurlburt, who's averaging over 20 points per game. He's followed by Olmstead with an average of over 13 points per game. Also, watch for Ryan Mason and Luke Weber, who are averaging nearly 7 and 6 points respectively. Now, leading the way for the Panthers on the boards is Hurlburt, who's pulling down an average of 12 rebounds per game, while Olmstead grabs 8.5. Now, thus far this season, the Vikings are being led in scoring by Ensminger, who's averaging 18 points per game. Aiden Fisher is also scoring in double digits with an average of almost 15 points per game. Eli Ralph is also contributing 6 points, with Mason Yarrington picking up an additional 5.5 points per game. Leading the way rebounding for the Vikings are Orion Nichols and Aiden Fisher, who are pulling down nearly 6 and over 5 boards per game respectively. Eli Ralph is also grabbing around 4.5 rebounds per game. Coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Mark Knoll on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
Here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood. Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Your family is your legacy.
Planning for a natural disaster will make sure you're all safe. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again, we're talking with Viking boys head coach Mark Knoll. And coach, on Monday, the Vikings picked up their first victory of the season when they defeated the Whitehall Norse 63-56 in a fast-paced, hard-fought game. What can you tell us about that performance?
Well, I think there are a lot of different things. Obviously, one, I was very happy and pleased with the boys to get that win on the road. It's not easy to win on the road, especially against a team that was at state last year, and they have 2 starters back from that team. So it's obviously a good program. We were down by 1 at halftime, and I thought we were pressing a little too hard. And so that's why we were only down by 1, is that I thought we should have been up. In the second half, we found our groove. We relaxed and started making plays a little bit more for each other and sharing the ball, and that's when you saw the score go in our favor.
Now, in that game, and we talked about this a few times, Dan and I did during the broadcast, but the Vikings had to really be on top of their transition game. Now, that's the part of basketball that's often overlooked by fans. Can you explain the transition game and how it's important to the game? Because the Vikings sure made it work for them on Monday.
Yeah, I thought we did a great job of getting out and running. And we always talk to our boys about trying to, make that first pass up the court. We don't always want it backwards. We want it going forward. And the more that we have it going forward, we can get those 4-on-3s, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, transition breaks. And if we have the advantage, I think we should be aggressive and try to score. And that's why, I thought it was a really fast game the other day, 63-56, I think the final was. But it was pretty. There was a lot of tempo in that game.
Yeah, it was up and down the floor. There were times that it was going up and down the floor so fast and so often that finally somebody called a timeout. And boy, was I glad, because I needed one. It was just getting tired watching it.
I think we have the kind of team, Rick, that we want to transition. We want to try to get advantage. We haven't shot the 3 to the degree that I think we're going to be able to this year yet. Some of that comes with rhythm and experience. As we start hitting those 3s in transition, I think our transition game is even going to pick up even more.
Now, tonight, the Vikings will open their Duns-St. Croix Conference season by taking on the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. What can you tell us about those Panthers and the problems that they present?
Well, obviously, number one, they're a really well-coached team. They've got one of the best players in the conference in Hurlbert, a 6'6" guard that made 51 threes last year. He's already made 9 threes in 3 games this year. So he's a kid that can go inside, outside. Excuse me. And they've got a point guard in Olmsted that's just a solid player. He's averaging 13 points, with Hurlbert averaging 20 points a game. So they've got some good size there. They start another 6'3" kid that's just a post player. That's a big, strong kid, and Hayden. And then off the bench, they have a freshman that's averaging 6 points a game, and 2 sophomores that are 6'2" also. So they are projected to be one of the top, 2 teams in the conference, and I expect it to be a dogfight.
You mentioned going into the Whitehall game that it seems like every team that you've played has had a Hurlbert-type player, big scorer, guy that's a big threat from anywhere on the floor. And overall, the Vikings have handled those guys fairly well. That's got to be an optimistic point for you coming into this game.
Yes, I mean, right? Our goal is always to try to handle those guys, kind of contain them, not let them go off for some crazy amounts. If we can keep them at their average or below, we've done our job. It's the not letting that second, third, or fourth kind of kid go off. That's the key. Not letting any of those guys set a career night.
Well, following that victory on Monday, did you notice a difference in the players and their attitudes or hustle coming off a win like that?
Yeah, I mean, in practice, the next day I always like to ask the boys, what are the positives? What are the things that you thought that we did a really good job of? And they thought, obviously limiting Whitehall to one shot. We did a lot of where we were able to get one and done. We didn't give up a lot of offensive rebounds. That was huge. The next thing is that I thought the boys said that we did a good job of spreading the ball around and looking to make the extra pass to the wide open guy. And they did a great job of that. And then making our free throws. Those are the kind of the things that they kind of talked about. And then I asked them what we needed to work on, and I think what we mentioned was finishing the game strong. We had some turnovers late where we kept giving Whitehall chances to make a basket, to make it closer than what it should have been. And we just need to finish those games out. So it's nice that the boys know that we're working on it, but that's huge that they understand that.
Sounds to me like your team is building its way to compete through this season, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So good luck on tonight's game. Hopefully the Vikings can open up that Dunn St. Croix schedule on a good note.
Thank you. Go Vikings.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, with a look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Welcome back to Viking Pregame. Tonight we have the Dunn St. Croix Conference opening up conference play for the 2023-2024 season. Now, in the conference opening matchups tonight, in addition to the 1-3 Vikings taking on the 2-1 Durand-Arkansaw Panthers, we find the 2-1 Boyceville Bulldogs traveling to Spring Valley to take on the 2-1 Spring Valley Cardinals. The 1-0 Mondovi Buffaloes will host the unbeaten Elk Mound Mounders, while the 1-1 Elmwood Plum City Wolves travel to Glenwood City to face the 1-0 Glenwood City Hilltoppers. Now, tonight, the Vikings are getting ready to open their Dunn St. Croix Conference season by taking on the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. This game will help determine whether the Vikings' tough non-conference schedule has paid off or not. These two teams appear to be well matched, and if the Vikings can repeat their performance from Monday night, this could be quite an exciting game. So far this season, the Panthers are outscoring their opponents by an average score of 56-45, while the Vikings are averaging 38 points per game and giving up 60. So the stage is set for some exciting boys high school basketball, and we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Now in just a moment, we'll send it out to our broadcast crew at Durand-Arkansaw High School as we will bring you all the action of tonight's game between the Colfax Vikings and the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. Stay tuned, coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball. It happens to everyone eventually, your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Slayton's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Slayton's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Slayton's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Slayton's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Slayton's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
In November of 2018, our daughter Jana passed away. The outpouring of support was unbelievable. Support that we received inspired us to start a foundation called the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation. And through that foundation,
we've given back in a lot of different ways, through projects, through different other charities that we've supported. We like to help Humane Association, and the Ronald McDonald House is something that's very near and dear to us. We've also recently, this last year, we actually built a tiny house. It's really exciting to be able to give back in different ways.
To learn more or to help financially, find us on Facebook or www.janakelly.com.
Colfax Viking Boys Basketball is on the air.
He'll pass it out to Blake Johnson. He'll take the shot for three. Vikings.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network, along with NLWN 2, is excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball.
Swinger down inside to Hoffman. He'll drive the right side of the lane, pop it up from 6. Good.
Join us as we follow the Vikings while they battle their way through the Durand-St. Croix Conference.
Charlo out to Ensminger for 3. He hits it!
And now out to the gym for today's Colfax Viking basketball.
And good evening and welcome to Durand-Arkansaw High School in downtown Durand. Well, just a block off of downtown Durand. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow and Monroe on the camera for us tonight. And we're getting ready to bring you the Colfax Vikings taking on the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. We got a couple minutes to go before the start of tonight's game. Dan, real quickly, why don't you let us know who's playing?
Yeah, here's the starters for Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. They're going to go with 5'10 junior, number 3, Parker Olmstead. 5'10 senior, number 4, Ryan Mesa. 6'3 senior, number 22, Grady Hayden. 6'6 senior, number 24, Ethan Herbert. 6'6 junior, number 25, Dane Bates. For the Vikings, they're going to go with 5'11 junior, number 4, Aiden Fisher. 5'9 senior, number 10, Elijah Ensminger. 5'10 senior, number 15, Mason Yarrington. 6 foot senior, number 23, Blake Johnson. And 6'3 senior, number 33, Eli Ralph.
And in today's junior varsity game, it was pretty one-sided. It was the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers defeating the Vikings junior varsity by a score of 68-27. And we're going to go over to the pep band as they play the school songs for both schools.
Between the visiting Colfax Vikings and your Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. Now, tonight's sportsmanship message, here is sophomore class president Jane Glaus.
The Durand-St. Croix Conference and the WIAA require good sportsmanship at education-based sporting events. Attendance at interscholastic activities is a privilege with the expectation to exhibit positive and respectful behavior. For the enjoyment and respect of all in attendance, your cooperation in demonstrating the high ideals of sportsmanship is expected and greatly appreciated. Thank you.
At this time, would you please stand if able and remove your hats as we honor America and our men and women of service. As the Panther Pep Band, under the direction of Riley Weiss, proudly performs our national anthem. Presenting our nation's colors is a silver saber color guard.
They always do a very nice flag presentation here at Durand High School, or Durand-Arkansaw High School. Now we'll send it down to the public address announcer for the starting lineups.
A 6-foot shooter guard, number 4, Aiden Fisher. A 5'9" senior guard, number 10, Alonzo Hinfield. A 5'10" senior guard, number 15, Mason Yarrington. A 6-foot senior guard, number 23, Blake Johnson. A 6'3" senior forward, number 33, Eli Wall. Vikings are assisted by Tristan Gilson and Nick White. Now for Coach Radesky and his starting Panthers. It's junior guard, number 3, Parker Olmstead. 5'11" senior guard, number 4, Ryan Mason. A 6'5" senior forward, number 22, Grady Hayden. A 6'5" senior guard, number 24, Ethan Carver. A 6'8" junior forward, number 25, Dane Bates. The Panthers are assisted by Zach Gillis and Coach Rowe.
And there's the starting lineups for both teams, courtesy of the public address system. Again, for the Vikings, it's Fisher, Ensminger, Yarrington, Johnson, and Ralph. Eli Ralph will be jumping center against Olmsted, Mason, Hayden, Hurlburt, and Bates. Bates will be jumping center for the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. The official steps into the center circle. Ball goes up and we're underway. Tip control by the Vikings, and we have a violation because Eli Ralph caught the tip. He can't do that, so we're going to have to re-jump. There we go again. This time it's controlled by Yarrington for the Vikings. Gets it out to Johnson. Over to Ensminger, back to Johnson on the near side. Takes it out between the circles to Yarrington on the far side. He's high, wide, and left. Now takes it between the circles, over to Yarrington. Yarrington to Ralph in the lane, gets it back out to Yarrington, to Johnson. Johnson takes it between the circles, gets it over to Ensminger. Ensminger back between the circles to Yarrington on the near side. Back over to Ensminger. He's high, wide, and left. To Johnson, who's high, wide, and right. Back over to Ensminger. Thought about the three, didn't take it. Takes a dribble, back over to Johnson.
Durand's in a 2-3 zone.
To Ralph. Ralph squares up, puts it up off the back of the air, no good, and the Panthers come down with it. Olmsted brings it down the floor. Olmsted across the timeline and now gets it over to Hayden. Hayden down underneath to Olmsted, turnaround jumper, goes in. Parker Olmsted gets the first 2 points of the game. Vikings bring it down the floor. Johnson on the dribble, gets it across the timeline. Over to Ensminger, back to Johnson on the near side. Takes it between the circles, over to the far side to Fisher. Back to Johnson. Into the lane to Ralph, out to Fisher on the left side. Back to Johnson, top of the key, puts it up, he hit it! He hit the three, and the Vikings go on top 3-2.
Yeah, that's how you play the 2-3 zone. Got that open man.
Mason has it, he gets it out high to Bates. Over to Olmsted on the near side, back out between the circles to Hayden. Hayden to Bates, to Mason. Mason gets it to Hurlburt. Hurlburt takes it down into the right corner and then he has to kick it back out to Mason. Mason out in the center circle to Bates on the near side. To Olmsted, three-pointer on the way, he hit it. Parker Olmsted with the three, puts the Panthers up 5-3. Vikings have the ball. Johnson on the dribble, gets it over to Ensminger. Back to Johnson, still in the backcourt. Gets it across the timeline. To Ensminger, back to Johnson. Johnson to Fisher on the left side. Back over to the right side to Ensminger. Thought about the three, didn't take it. Puts it on the floor and the ball gets tipped away. Here comes Durand, transition game. Putting it up and in is Ryan Mason. And the Panthers are up 7-3. Johnson with it, gets it over. Now they get it to Ralph with a three-point attempt, no good. Rebound taken down by Hurlburt, and he brings it down the floor. Ethan Hurlburt feeding it over to the far side, down to Hurlburt, cutting through the lane, and he took it right down and put it home. 9-3, Vikings down by 6. Johnson with it, long pass down to Ralph, takes it into the lane. Kicks it out to Fisher, puts up a three, he hit the three! Aiden Fisher with nothing but net. 9-6, Vikings cut it to 3. Mason, or check that's Olmsted with it, gets it over to Mason, to Hurlburt on the near side. Back out high to Hayden, over to Bates, to Mason. Now Olmsted has it, takes it to the elbow, Bates takes it to the hole. We're gonna get a whistle and a foul. Foul's gonna be on Ensminger.
Yeah, just tripped him up just a little bit. This ain't got him on the arm.
First foul on anybody in this game. 14:07 remaining. Dane Bates at the line. First shot's up off the back of the iron, no good. Second shot is up. It's good. 10-6. Johnson with it, gets it over to Ensminger. Back to Johnson, quickly back over to Fisher on the near side. To Johnson. Johnson takes it between the circles, dribbles over to the left side. Back over to Fisher on the right. To Johnson. Back to Fisher, he's on the right wing. To Johnson, high, wide, and right. Feeds it into the lane to Ralph, gets it out to Yarrington. Three-pointer on the way off the back of the iron, no good. Bates comes down with the rebound for Durand and gets it to Parker Olmsted. Over to Mason. Down into the corner to Hayden, back out high to Bates, to Mason on the near side. They swing it over to the far side to Bates, gets it back over. Now they've got it on the near side to Hayden. Hayden to Hurlburt on the near side. Now they get it over to Olmsted on the far side. He's at the free throw line extended. To Bates, free throw line extended on this side, and it's no good. Rebound put back up and in by Parker Olmsted.
Parker Olmsted with 8 points.
Vikings get it into the forecourt. Ralph feeds it over to Johnson on the near side. Drives it into the lane. Gets it over to Yarrington. To Ensminger just inside the arc. Puts it up no good. Rebound taken down by Durand. This is Hurlburt on the dribble. He's got it on the left side. High, wide, and left. Feeds it over to Hayden. Hayden to Olmsted. Back out high to Mason. Over to Bates on the near side. Bates down to Hayden. Back out high to Mason. Mason over to Hurlburt.
Colfax and man.
To Hayden. To Bates. To Olmsted. Now between the circles to Mason. To Hurlburt on the near side. Hurlburt thought about a three, didn't take it. It's being guarded by Johnson right now.
Yeah,
gets it over to Mason.
They're going to try to work it inside.
Mason to Hurlburt. Hurlburt to Olmsted from three. It's no good. Rebound tipped around. Coming out with it is Yarrington. Gets it to Ensminger. Ensminger takes it into the paint. No good with his shot. Rebound taken down by Hayden. 12-6. Durand up by 6. Olmsted feeds it over to Mason. Back to Olmsted. He's on the left or on the right side. To Hurlburt. To Bates. Back over to the near side. That's Olmsted with it. To Hurlburt. Drives into the paint. Turn around. Jump shot, and it rattles home. 14-6. 8-point lead for the Panthers. And timeout called by the Vikings as you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
If you have a high-deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
We're back here at Durand-Arkansaw High School as the Vikings trail 14-6 to the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. Panthers putting on some full court pressure. Johnson to inbound, gets it into Ensminger, back to Johnson. Johnson over to Ensminger. Ensminger back to Johnson. Back to Ensminger. Pass was a little bit high. Ensminger went up and got it. Ensminger over to Fisher. Back to Ensminger. Back to Fisher. Back to Ensminger. Three-pointer on the way. It's off the iron. No good. Rebound is out of bounds off the Vikings.
Yeah, Durand's in zone right now. Colfax has to move the ball just a little bit faster. Get an open look.
So coming down the floor is Luke Weber with the ball. Feeds it over to Hurlburt, back to Weber. Into the corner, that's Saylor. And they put it up by Bates, and he made it. 16-6. Vikings bring it down. Fisher with a three. No, it doesn't go. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be Durand ball. Into the game for the Vikings is Orion Nichols, and the Vikings want to talk about it as we have a timeout on the floor. Vikings trail by 10 on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Austin and Nikki Pritchard are just what the doctor ordered. In fact, they are the doctors and they're ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
Durand to inbound the ball as the Panthers are up by 10 with 9:53 to go in the first half. This is Luke Weber on the dribble. Gets it across the timeline. Feeds it over to Anderson on the far side. Back to Saylor on the near side. To Hurlburt at the top of the key. Takes it around the left side down to the baseline. Feeds it across to Anderson. And they get it out to Saylor and then back to Anderson. Anderson to Bates. Bates to Hurlburt with a three, and he hit it.
Yeah, Hurlburt coming off a little screen. Got open.
19-6. Vikings bring it up across the timeline. They get it to Ralph on the baseline. Back out high to Johnson. Over to Fisher. Back to Johnson. High, wide, and left. Over to the near side to Ensminger. Ensminger back out to Johnson. Johnson back to Ensminger. Ensminger takes it down low. Feeds it back out high to Johnson. Johnson at the top of the key. Drives down the side of the lane. Ball got tipped and knocked out of bounds off the Panthers. Hurlburt got his hand on it. So it'll be Viking ball down on the baseline. Pass comes in and picked up in the backcourt by Ensminger. Brings it across the timeline. Feeds it over to Fisher on the left side. Fisher down into the corner to Nichols. Back out to Fisher. To Johnson. Johnson back over to Fisher. Back to Nichols. To Ralph, to Johnson, puts up a three. No, it won't go. Rebound taken down by the Panthers, and that's Max Anderson getting the rebound quickly. They get it down the floor. This is Weber with it down in the left corner. He dribbles back out high, gets it over to Anderson on the right side. Anderson to Hurlburt between the circles. To Weber. Feeding it back over to the near side to Saylor. Feeds it over to Hurlburt, and he hit the two from the right corner.
10 points for Ethan Hurlburt.
Vikings have it down across the timeline. Johnson puts it up. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. Weber with it, gets it over into the corner. Shot's no good, but the putback is good by Anderson. 23-6. Fisher with it, gets it to Eli Ralph. Thought about a three. Tries to take it through the lane, gets it over to Nichols, to Johnson, to Ensminger. Ensminger on the dribble, puts it up from the side of the lane, rattles off the front of the iron, no good, and Durand with the rebound. Down the floor comes Weber. He's at the free throw line. Ball gets taken away by Ensminger. Ensminger takes it down the floor. He's fighting against Hurlburt, puts it up. It won't go in. Rebound taken down by Johnson for the Vikings. Gets it out to Fisher, puts up the three. No! And the rebound taken down by Durand. And down the floor they come. This is Saylor with it. Takes it into the lane, tries to go up. It doesn't go. It's out of bounds off the Vikings.
Yeah, the little dark horse for Colfax right now the last couple games has been Ryan Nichols. Comes off the bench, but he plays great defense.
So Durand to inbound the ball under the basket. Feeds it into Anderson. Anderson turnaround hook shot is no good. Rebound taken down by Olmsted. They feed it out high. This is Mason with it. Back to Olmsted. Almost stolen by Ensminger, but Olmsted puts up a three. No. And battle for the rebound. Durand comes away with it. Shot goes up, and the putback is up and in by Anderson. Original shot was by Hayden. It wouldn't go, but Anderson put it back in. Eli Ralph with it, gets it over to Ensminger. Ensminger down into the right corner to Fisher. And the ball gets knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Durand. It'll be Viking ball. 5:58 to go. Vikings have hit a cold streak from the floor. Ensminger with a three-pointer, rattles in and out, no good. Follow up by Fisher, and it won't go. And Durand comes away with it. Olmsted down into the corner to Saylor. Saylor back out high to Anderson. Anderson over to the near side to Olmsted. Olmsted with a jumper from the side of the lane. He hit it. 27-6. 21-point lead for the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers. Hovde feeds it over to Fisher. Down into the corner to Nichols. Back out high to Fisher. Fisher over to Ensminger. Ensminger to Fisher. Fisher to Ensminger in the corner. Takes it inside the arc. Puts it up. No. Rebound taken away by Ralph. Gets it out to Ensminger. Spin move. Puts it up from the side of the lane, but he drew the foul. So Ensminger's going to go to the line for two. The foul is on Grady Hayden. That's the first foul on Durand. Elijah Ensminger at the line. Free throw is up and no good. Dan, you want to go up and check and see if they put a lid on that basket? I think maybe they might have.
Yeah, that's got to be at least 10 shots that have not fallen for Colfax tonight. They just got to find a way to get to the hole right now.
Ensminger with his second shot. On the way. There, it took the lid off. And we're going to get a whistle and a foul on Hovde on the attempted inbound. So that's the first foul on Hovde. (27-7). Durand has the ball. It's Mason with it. Gets it over onto the far side. Parker Olmsted lost the handle on the sideline, and it went out of bounds. It'll be Viking ball.
Redemption foul. Good job by Hovde to get that one back.
Yarrington to Ensminger to Hovde. Back to Ensminger. Still looking to bring it across the timeline. Gets it to Yarrington. Now to Ensminger between the circles. Yarrington high, wide, and left. Takes a step in, feeds it down into the corner to Ensminger. Ensminger to get it back out to Yarrington. Yarrington on the far side, over to Ensminger in the corner, drives the baseline, puts it up. He got it to go! 27-9. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the first half. And down the floor come the Panthers. They feed it over to the near side to Olmsted. Then to Hurlburt. Hurlburt to Bates. Bates into the lane, turns around, puts it up. and it goes in.
Yeah, good defense by Eli Ralph, just a better shot.
29-9. Vikings bring it down the floor. Ralph with the ball. Gets it over into the corner, and now back out high to Ensminger. To Yarrington between the circles. To Hovde on the far side. Back to Yarrington on the near side. To Ralph on this side of the lane, and then out to Ensminger on the far wing. Puts it up. He needed the three. Elijah Ensminger with a three. 29-12. Hurlburt with it. Between the circles. Feeds it over to Mason on the far side. He's high, wide, and right. To Hurlburt. Hands it off to Hayden. Back to Hurlburt. Now to Bates. Back to Hurlburt. To Bates in the lane. Backs in and put it in.
Yarrington tried to draw the foul. Didn't get the call. 7 points for Bates.
And the pass intended for Ensminger is a little high and wide, and it's out of bounds. Johnson and Fisher back in for the Vikings. 31-12. Vikings trail by 19. Olmsted with it, high, wide, and right. Gets it out high to Hayden. To Hurlburt. Back to Hayden in the lane. Feeds it over to Mason, and he can't find the handle. It goes out of bounds. Johnson to inbound, gets it to Fisher. Fisher to take it across the timeline. Well, he picked up his dribble and now gets it to Ensminger, brings it across. Ensminger tries to get it to Johnson, only we're going to get a whistle and kicking violation against the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers, so the Vikings will inbound to Ensminger, and he comes across the timeline. Loses the handle, but gets it back to Nichols, to Johnson, under 2. Feed it over to the far side. Nichols with a three off the back there, no good. Scrambling for the rebound, grabbing it is Fisher. Fisher feeds it down low to Ralph. Ralph tries to lead it up, doesn't get it to go. They get it out to Johnson, puts up the three, no, gets his own rebound, puts it up off the glass, no good. And we get a whistle and a timeout as Eli Ralph had a flat tire.
Got stepped on, shoe came off. Yeah, that's it. This is a good officials timeout. Colfax has to settle down a little bit right now.
I know a lot of the Colfax fans thought that when Ralph went up with that shot underneath that he got fouled, but no whistle. They're letting him play tonight. There's only been 2 fouls on each team. Yeah, I think it's actually 3 on one and 1 on the other. I think the scoreboard's wrong. Hurlburt puts up a hook shot and got it to go.
12 for Hurlburt.
So the Vikings have it in the forecourt. Johnson with it. Coming up on a minute remaining in the half. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we will have a Viking profile. It'll be Blake Johnson today. Three-pointer goes up by Nichols, is no good. Hurlburt brings it down the floor on the near side. Pulls over to the elbow, no good. His pass is intercepted by Fisher. Fisher on the dribble at the top of the key, stops in the lane, gets it out to Ralph, who thought the official was one of his teammates, threw it right to her, and the shot goes up twice by Durand. They get it out to Weber, and the shot is no good.
They got time for one shot.
Here comes Ensminger, takes it all the way to the hole, and they're gonna, and the Vikings want to call a full timeout with 20 seconds, well, 20.8 seconds remaining in the half. And you're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV, or NLWN 2.
When you have that craving for a home-cooked meal the way Mom used to make it, rest assured, you can still get that meal by going to Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Mom's is open daily, serving breakfast and lunch, and don't forget dinner on Friday nights with Mom's famous fish fry. The coffee is always hot, the breakfast is always delicious, and lunch will put a smile on your face and in your stomach. 225 Bremer Avenue, Colfax. Call 715-962-4617. That's Mom's Restaurant and Pub.
To get your lawn or garden to perform at attracting what you want, you first need to know what your soil is working with. That's where Midwest Environmental Consultants can help. Their soil testing service can give you a complete rundown on your soil's nutrition and health. They test for nitrogen levels, phosphorus, potash, micronutrients, minerals, pH, and organic matter. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants put you in control of your soil's health. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. That's Midwest Environmental Consultants, serving Western Wisconsin.
Back here at Durand-Arkansaw High School. 20.8 seconds remaining in the half, and they inbound the ball, get it back to Hurlburt, and he brings it down the floor, taking his time.
Colfax must be where Bates is right now.
Hurlburt on the dribble, tries to go into the lane, and we're going to get an offensive foul, player control foul called on Hurlburt.
Yeah, good job by Ensminger. Get his
That's
position.
the second team foul on Durand-Arkansaw. First one on Hurlburt.
7 seconds.
They get the ball over to Fisher, to Johnson, launches, off the glass, no good, and we have reached halftime. So the score at halftime is the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers 33, Vikings 12, and coming up next is Viking halftime on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV, or NLWN 2. Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
Time now for Viking Halftime, with today's Viking profile and other halftime entertainment. That's coming up right after this.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
Me the babe, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really hard for me.
Where you at on the way out?
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Blake Johnson, who's a senior here at Colfax High School. And Blake, we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
No, I am not.
Okay. All right. So
Do a whole lot.
That's all right. So when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of an experience has that been?
I started playing around the 4th grade, and it's been fun. You know, met a lot of people, played with a bunch of great guys. It's been an overall great experience.
Now, what's the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
Definitely trusting your teammates, you know, being there for them and just being an overall great person.
And that they'll be in the right place at the right time?
Hopefully.
Okay. Otherwise, it doesn't look too good, does it?
Yeah, no, it does not.
So when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
Hanging out with friends. Definitely a lot of golfing. Just got into that this summer. It's been a great time.
Okay. Got a couple rapid fire questions for you here. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
I'm going to have to go with cookies.
Which kind?
Subway cookies.
The Subway
chocolate chip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right. Hot dog, burger, or brats?
Burger.
And what do you want on that burger?
I'm just going to have to go with cheese and ketchup. Just keep it classic.
Classic and plain, and yeah, there you go. Favorite color?
Blue.
Any reason?
Color in my eyes.
There you go. I'll bet those girls like seeing that too, don't they?
Oh, definitely not.
Definitely not? Okay.
No.
If you could have a superpower, what do you think that might be?
I'm going to have to go with flying. Get to places quicker, and I don't have to wake up as early.
Oh, good point. All right. Now, if you had the ability to fly, of course you have to have a superhero name to go with it. So what's Blake's superhero name?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I'm going to have to go with Fortnite Jonesy.
All right. We'll live with that. All right. What's your favorite NBA team?
The Timberwolves.
Okay. And how about your favorite collegiate team?
The Gophers. Big Minnesota guy over here.
I can tell. Okay. I'll bet you're a Twins fan and a Vikings fan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there a basketball player at any level of the sport who's kind of influenced the way you play the game?
Yeah, there's two of them. It's going to be my mom and Steph Curry. Enjoy shooting the threes, and all throughout my high school and middle school career, my mom's been there for me all the way.
Okay, very good. We're talking with Blake Johnson today on Viking Profile. And Blake, what are your plans for after high school?
Going to go into the work field, probably do some road construction.
Okay, all right. How about a shout out to the family?
Yeah, I just like to thank my family for always supporting me throughout all my high school games and always being there for me through the ups and downs.
Now, when people watch Viking games, what number you wear and where are we going to find you on the floor?
I'm going back to number 23, Michael Jordan.
Okay, and where on the floor?
Point guard, hopefully, wherever I can be.
Okay, whatever can help the team, right?
Yeah.
Very good. We want to thank Blake Johnson for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next, more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcast Network.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
And we're back here at Durand-Arkansaw High School. Rick Olson along with Dan Petschow and Monroe on the camera tonight. And the Vikings are trailing the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers 33-12. And Dan, why don't you tell us how we got there?
Yeah, the scores right now for Durand-Arkansaw. They're led by number 24, Ethan Hurlbert. He has 12 points. Parker Olmstead has 9. Ryan Mason has 2. Dave Bates has 6. And Max Anderson has 4. For the Colfax Vikings right now, they're led by number 10, Elijah Ensminger. He has 6 points. Aiden Fisher has 2, and Blake Johnson has 2. 33-12, Durand-Arkansaw.
And Dan, I'll tell you what, the Vikings have got their work cut out for them in the second half.
Yeah, you know, I think they got scared out there by Bates and Herbert, and but they did find a way to get inside. And I think they should go back to that. They've been shooting those threes out there. And, you know, besides, let's see, we got Aiden Fisher has 1 3 and Ensminger has 1 3. Also, when Durant's been playing his own defense, and I think if Colfax moves the ball a little quicker, they can get some open shots. You know, they got a little lazy, and, yeah, that ball movement will get some points.
Well, the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers will have the ball to start the second half. As we're getting ready, on our scoreboard camera, we're seeing real nice profiles of the Hurlbert family. Lots of fans here tonight, including little guys. And the Panthers go out on the floor. The Vikings have been out there for a moment, and the Panthers will inbound the ball. Mason to inbound it. And he gets it into Parker Olmstead, who brings it across the timeline. Olmstead between the circles. Panthers going from left to right now to Hurlbert, to Bates on the near side. Bates gets it out to Mason, over to Hurlbert.
Colfax in man.
Olmstead from the left elbow, and he put it in.
Yeah, tough shot for Parker. 11 points for him.
And the Vikings bring it down the floor. Pressure being put on by the Panthers. Johnson with it. Feeds it across the timeline to Yarrington. To Fisher. Fisher out between the circles. Drives to the free throw line. Puts it up. It rattles around. It won't go. So down the floor come the Panthers. Olmstead over to Mason. Into the corner to Hayden. Back out to Hurlbert on the left side. Now they swing it over to the right side to Mason. To Hayden. Back to the left side to Olmstead to Bates. Then out to Mason to Hurlbert. On the right side now is Olmstead. To Hurlbert. To Hayden. To Bates. And they swing it back around to Hayden on the near side. To Bates between the circles. They're just content to work it around the perimeter. Hurlbert with it. Gets it to Mason.
Got open 3. There it is.
Over to Olmstead. Puts it up. Tip no good. And coming away with it are the Vikings. Fisher with it. Feeds it down to Ralph. Lays it up and puts it in. Eli Ralph with 2. 35-14. Mason with it on the near side. He's high, wide, and right. Over to Olmsted between the circles. Down into the left corner to Bates, to Hayden, who puts it up and in. You know, I'd like to know where Durand got the medieval stretching rack, because they've sure put some guys on them. They're awfully tall. Ball got kicked out of bounds. It'll be Viking ball.
Yeah, Colfax can't go away from trying to get inside, though. See if they can get some of those short jumpers.
Durand-Arkansaw is going 6-3, 6-6, and 6-6. Yarrington lost the handle. It went out of bounds, but off of Hurlburt. They get it into Fisher. Fisher between the circles. Gets it over to the right side, Dan Sminger.
Somebody's got to come over and help.
And Sminger to Johnson at the elbow. Takes it to the free throw line. Feeds it over to Fisher from three. No. Rebound chased down by Hurlburt. Brings it down the floor. Pulls up between the circles. Keeps the dribble going. Takes it down the left side to the baseline. Gets it out to Hayden. Launches a three. No. Rebound taken down by Yarrington. Yarrington gets it over to Ensminger, but it's taken away by Hurlburt. Takes it down, lays it up. He missed the layup.
Got a foul.
I believe it's going to be on Yarrington. It is.
Yeah, that was a good foul. Hurlburt had a easy layup there.
37-14, Panthers on top. First shot is up, it rattles around, no good.
It's only the third free throw tonight for Durand.
Second shot is up, it's up. That one's good. 38-14, 24-point difference. Fisher with it. Cross-court pass, really high. I think they thought Ensminger was built kind of like Giannis or something. He had to go way up to try to get it. Made a good effort, but it was just too high. Olmsted with it, over to the far side to Mason. Back out high to Olmsted at the top of the key. To Hurlburt on the near side. Gets it to Bates at the side of the lane. Back out to Hurlburt. Hurlburt gets the ball taken away by Fisher. Puts on the brakes. Feeds it to Johnson, who can't get the handle. It goes off his leg and out of bounds.
Good defense by Ethan Hurlburt. Had two guys to take care of.
Well, down the floor come the Panthers. Olmsted with it, feeds it over to the far side to Hurlburt, takes it down to the baseline. We have a whistle and a jump ball called. Possession arrow in favor of the Vikings. I think that's the first tie-up that we've had all night.
Yeah, good job by number 4, Aiden Fisher. Get the turnover.
Ralph with it. Hands it off to Johnson, back to Ralph. To Ensminger, gets it across the timeline. Ensminger on the dribble, feeds it over to Yarrington on the near side. Yarrington takes it between the circles, pulls up his dribble, gets it over to Fisher on the near side, feeds it to Ralph on the left baseline. Back out high to Yarrington, three-pointer on the way off the back there, no good. Rebound tipped around, taken away by Hayden. And bringing it down the floor for the Panthers is Olmsted. Olmsted feeds it over to the near side to Mason. Mason over to Olmsted on the far side, three-pointer launch, and he hit it. Parker Olmsted with the three.
14 points for him.
And down the floor come the Vikings. And the ball gets just taken away by the Panthers. And trying to go up with the layup is Ryan Mason, but it went off his foot and out of bounds. So coming into the lineup for Durand-Arkansaw is Wiesenbeck. And let's see, Weber. There was another one as well. I'm trying to catch his number over there. Oh, Anderson came back in. Ralph has it for the Vikings. Feeds it over to Ensminger, puts on a spin. Takes a dribble, feeds it over to Fisher on the far side. Pulls up, puts the shot up, no good. Rebound taken down by Wiesenbeck for the Panthers. And they bring it down the floor. Feeding it to Bates, takes it towards the hole. He gave it to Anderson, who went to the hole and got fouled.
It's like number 20 for
That's
Colfax.
Orion Nichols with the foul. It's his first personal. Second team foul on the Vikings. Max Anderson at the line. First shot is up, it's no good. Second shot on the way, it's good. 42-14. Ball comes in to Fisher, to Hovde, to Ensminger, back to Hovde. Passes to Ralph down in the left corner. Dribbled it off his leg, but he picked it back up. Out to Hovde, over to Ensminger, thought about a three. Feeds it back over to the right side to Hovde, to Ralph. Inside the arc, gets it to the elbow to Fisher. Shots up, no good. Rebound being fought for. Ensminger comes away with it in the land of the Giants there. Gets it to Ralph. Out to Hovde, to Ensminger from the corner. No. Fisher with the rebound. Tries to put it up and got the harm. Foul's going to be on Billy Wiesenbeck.
His first.
They're going to say that was on the floor. So the Vikings inbound it. To Ensminger, to Nichols. Back out to Ensminger. Ensminger gets it to Nichols, all on the near side. And the pass got a little bit away from Fisher. He tries to save it in, but the Panthers get it. They get it to Olmstead, who lays it in. 44-14, 30-point lead.
17 points for Olmstead.
Fisher with it. Gets it over to Hovde. Now they get it down to Ralph, and his shot is blocked out of bounds. Bates with the block.
Yeah, either way, Ralph just has to shoot a little faster.
Ball comes into Fisher. Shot is up, no good. Rebound by Nichols. It gets taken away from him by Wiesenbeck. And down the floor comes Olmstead. Feeds it over to Wiesenbeck on the right wing. Tries to take it down to the baseline. Got turned away from there by Nichols. Out high to Bates. Bates over to Olmstead between the circles. Over to Anderson. Anderson takes it in towards the lane, puts the shot up, no good. Wiesenbeck with the rebound. Feeds it over, they get it into the corner and get it out to Olmstead. Olmstead over to Wiesenbeck. Wiesenbeck a three-pointer on the way, it's no good. Rebound taken down by Ensminger. Ensminger brings it down the floor to the top of the key. Now down the right side of the lane, puts it up, it won't go. Wiesenbeck with the rebound. To Olmstead, feeding it to Weber. Weber at the free throw line. Out to Wiesenbeck from three-point land, and he didn't take a shot. To Anderson, back out to Wiesenbeck. Thought about the three, drives into the lane, puts it up, no. Rebound by Nichols. Pass out to Hovde, was almost intercepted by Olmstead. Driving into the lane is Fisher, and he got hammered, and he came down hard. And the foul is going to be on Bates. Fisher's going to go to the line for a pair. Getting ready to check in for the Vikings is Randolph Larson. First shot is up by Fisher. It's good. Larson comes in for Ensminger. Second shot is up, and that's also good. 44-16. Panthers bring it down the floor, but Hovde steals it. Feeds it over to Fisher. Fisher puts it up off the glass. It won't go. Ralph with the rebound. Put back shot goes in. 44-18. 9:35 remaining. And down the floor come the Panthers. Saylor with it. Feeds it over to Hayden. To Anderson on the near side. Gets it to Saylor. Down underneath to Hayden. Back out high. This is Saylor. And we're going to get a whistle and a foul on Larson. Randolph Larson, the freshman, is in there for the Vikings. Getting a little varsity time. Inbound pass. Goes into the backcourt, chased down by Anderson. Fisher picks him up as he comes across the timeline. They get it over to Wiesenbeck. Wiesenbeck on the dribble, gets it over to Hayden. Hayden on the near side. Feeds it over to Wiesenbeck on the far side. Takes it down toward the baseline. Getting it out high to Saylor. Saylor to Hayden, to Wiesenbeck from the corner. He hit the three. Billy Wiesenbeck with the three-pointer.
His first three of the night.
Fisher with it. Gets it over to Hovde. Cross-court pass intended for Larson, but it got intercepted by Wiesenbeck and tipped out of bounds. And it will be Panthers ball. Vikings make a number of substitutions. As the Panthers have it, Saylor brings it across the timeline. Feeding it over to the far side to Weber, and now they get it into the lane. Shot is no good. Whistle and a foul.
We got a foul number 20.
Yeah, that's a foul on Ryan Nichols. That's why their shot was no good. They couldn't get it away. Second foul on Nichols, fourth team foul on the Vikings. Shot goes up, it's no good. Second shot on the way, that one's good. 48-18. And the shot goes up from the corner, three-pointer by Mason Yarrington.
His first 3 points of the night.
So Weber with it, feeds it over to the far side. Now they get it down underneath to Hayden, puts it up and it rolls in. 50-21. Vikings with it. Fisher tries to take it into the lane, got his pocket picked. Saylor feeds it down the floor to Weber, and the shot is no good. Vikings right back down the other end, feeding it to Ensminger, but a little bit out of his reach, and it's out of bounds. Panthers with it. Hurlbert on the dribble, gets it over to Saylor. Saylor out to Hurlbert, launches a three. No. Rebound taken down by Ensminger. Ensminger down the floor. Tries a bounce pass, but it went off of Hurlbert, who intercepted it, and then we get a foul.
Foul's going to be at 23.
That's Blake Johnson. His first personal. 15th foul on the Vikings. And we have a timeout on the floor. with the score. The Durand-Arkansaw Panthers 50, Vikings 21. You're tuned to Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
C&K Construction is your source for high-quality concrete and construction work in the Chippewa Valley. Established in 2014, C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls is a leading concrete contractor proud to serve Eau Claire, Altoona, Menominee, and surrounding areas. Specializing in concrete construction, excavating, flatwork poured walls, and much more, they're right for all of your concrete needs. Call C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls at 715-559-1335.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining?
Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
Back here at Durand High School as the Panthers inbound the ball. Hurlburt brings it down the floor. Takes it straight down into the lane, feeds it out into the corner to Saylor, who puts it up. It's no good as he drove into the lane, and the Vikings come away with it. Ensminger on the dribble. Feeding it over to Fisher between the circles. To Johnson, puts it up from the top of the key, no good. Rebound taken down by Wiesenbeck. And they get it over to the Panthers, and it goes off of Hurlburt's foot. Johnson picks it up, and we're going to get a whistle. Foul's going to be on Wiesenbeck. That's his second foul, third team foul on the Panthers. Ball comes into Fisher and across the timeline. Fisher gets it out to Johnson. Back over to Fisher. Fisher between the circles. Takes it over to the near side. Feeds it down to the baseline, and it's out of bounds. It'll be Viking ball. Last touched by, I think they're saying Wiesenbeck got a finger on it. It was either him or Weber.
Yeah, Colfax is being a little tentative right now for the shooting. They're just a little nervous that they're going to miss. They just got to get that confidence back and have one fall for them.
Ethan Mack and Brady Weber into the lineup for the Panthers. Fisher with it. Over to Ensminger on the near side. To Johnson at the left elbow. Feeds it down to the baseline to Nichols. Jump shot is good.
Yeah, there we go. His first two.
That's Mack under some pressure at the timeline. Gets it over, and the shot goes up by Weber is no good.
We got a jump ball.
They called it a jump ball. He got tied up on his way up, so it'll be Durand ball. To Weber, or to Mack, excuse me. Mack at the top of the key, takes it into the lane. Feeds it out to Anderson from the corner. Shots up, no good. Rebound taken down by Wiesenbeck. And we're going to get a whistle and a foul, and I think it's going to be on Nichols. It is. Third foul on Orion Nichols. First shot is up and in.
He's 2 for 3 from the line tonight.
By Billy Wiesenbeck. And his second shot. It's on the way, and it's good. 52-23. Durand comes down the floor to Johnson. Or the Vikings come down the floor. Fisher has it on the near side. Over to Yarrington on the far side. Back out to Fisher. Over to Ensminger. Launches a three. No, it's off the iron. Chases the ball down. gets it to Nichols, tries to go up, he can't find a path, gets it out to Johnson, puts up a shot from the free throw line, no good. Ball's coming down the floor. Wiesenbeck drives the baseline, feeds it out to Mack, puts up the shot, no good. Rebound taken down by Nichols, gets it to Fisher. Fisher drives into the lane, puts it up, no, and they're going to call the offensive foul on Fisher.
I don't know about that. He was moving back. Durand player was. Can't be moving.
So down the floor come the Panthers. Ethan Mack on the dribble. They get it out high to Weber. Over to the near side to Wiesenbeck. And we get a whistle and a foul. That's going to be a foul on Fisher.
Yeah, good position there by number 23, Brady Weber.
Wholesale lineup changes for the Vikings. We have Hunter Roberts, Grant Palowitz, Charlie Charbonneau, Trey Larson, and Theo Hovde into the lineup for the Vikings. Free throw is up and no good by Brady Weber, and down the floor come the Vikings. Hovde on the dribble. Feeds it over to the far side to Charbonneau. Back out high to Larson. And they get it to Charbonneau. Back to Larson. Three-pointer, he hit it! Trey Larson hit the three. Down the floor come the Panthers. They feed it down underneath to Anderson, who lays it up and in. Hunter Roberts kind of lost track of him, and he was open underneath. Now Trey Larson with another three attempt. This one's no good. Wiesenbeck gets the rebound. Long lead pass to Ethan Mack. Lays it up, no good. Rebound taken out of there by Durand. Gets it out to Wiesenbeck at the top of the key. Feeds it over to Weber. Three-pointer on the way. Rebound taken down by Mack. He puts it up. Whistle and a...
We got a foul on Durand.
An offensive foul, evidently a push-off on Ethan Mack. That'll be the fourth foul on the Panthers. First foul on Mack. The Vikings bring the ball down the floor. They get it out to Palowitz. Then over to Charbonneau. Charbonneau drives down the lane. Can't get the shot up. It's partially blocked, but the Vikings get it right back. Putting it up is Roberts with no good. Rebound by Wiesenbeck. I think he thought about trying to dunk it, and it didn't work for him. Larson has it for the Vikings just inside the arc, and he hit it for two more.
Trey Larson has 5 points.
54-28. Wiesenbeck with it. Feeds it down underneath. Vikings steal it back. Charbonneau on it. Charbonneau takes it right down into the lane, and he took an extra step.
Yeah.
He thought about trying to go up with the shot and then feeding it off to Larson, but by the time he made the decision to do that, he took the extra step.
Yeah, he's got to shoot that.
So Mack has it. He gets it over to Weber, who gets it back to Mack, who feeds it over to Brady Weber. Over to Luke Weber. Takes it down the lane, feeds it to Wiesenbeck, puts up the shot, no good. Gets his own rebound, gets it out to Anderson. Anderson drives into the lane, puts it up, and we're going to get a whistle and a foul. Max Anderson going to the line for two, and the foul is going to be on Grant Palowitz.
Max Anderson on the line for the Panthers, shooting two.
And the first shot is good. Coming into the lineup for the Vikings is Ethan Ralph, replacing Palowitz.
Logan Schwartz.
Or check that, it's Logan Schwartz, you're right. Shot goes up, it's no good. Schwartz gets the rebound. He's bringing it down the floor himself, loses it off his foot, feeds it out to Larson. Puts up the three, no. Schwartz with the rebound, lays it up, and it goes in.
Logan Schwartz with his first 2 points of the night.
Ethan Mack with it for the Panthers. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining. Ball gets knocked away, but picked up by the Panthers. Mack feeds it over to the near side to Brady Weber. Then to Wiesenbeck down in the corner. Feeds it over to Brady Weber. Out high to Luke Weber. Luke Weber feeds it over to Anderson. Anderson to Ethan Mack. Ethan Mack over to Brady Weber. To Anderson. To Ethan Mack, who lost the handle trying to go up down the lane. Larson with it, tries to feed it into the lane, and the ball gets knocked away, and down the floor come the Panthers. Anderson with it, feeds it over, taken away by the Vikings. Tried to feed it over to the right side. Hovde with it, gives it to Logan Schwartz, who turns around and puts it in. 55-33, coming up on a minute remaining. Down the floor is Luke Weber. He has it, gets it over to the far side to Billy Wiesenbeck. Long shot goes in, rattles around and out. And down the floor come the Vikings. Hovde with it. Feeds it over to Larson. Larson with a three-pointer. No. Schwartz with the rebound. Gets out a three-pointer. Goes out by Charbonneau, but it was no good. Wiesenbeck comes down the floor. Feeds it over to Brady Weber. Brady Weber drives to the lane, turns around, puts it up. No, he doesn't get it. Hovde with it. Feeds it over to Schwartz. Puts it up. It won't go. And rebound by Brady Weber, who is quickly becoming a fan favorite here. Ethan Mack with it. Coming up 10 seconds, just under 10 seconds. Durand's content to just dribble it out. Ethan Mack, 2-1, and there's our final score. With the score, the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers 55 and the Vikings 32. And we'll have final summaries of tonight's game in Viking postgame, and that'll be coming up right after this timeout. You're tuned to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. Let Menominee Eye and Optical help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comroe provide both comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract and LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eye care for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, located at 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality, personalized care for you and your family.
If you have a high-deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
If your estate isn't looking quite estate-like, let Midwest Environmental Consultants landscape your estate right up to snuff with installation of retaining walls, brick patios, foundation planting beds, and so much more. Then they'll keep it that way with their expert lawn care service. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants help make your estate the showplace of the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
You have been tuned to Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. This copyrighted production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and Colfax High School is intended for the enjoyment of the viewing and listening audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction in part or in whole in any form without the express written consent of the Northern Light Webcasting Network LLC and Colfax High School is prohibited. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Time now for Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. And now, Viking Postgame.
And we're back here at Durand-Arkansaw High School where the Vikings dropped their conference opener to the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers by a score of 55-32. That makes the Vikings 1-4 overall and 0-1 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. And while we wait on Coach Noel, why don't you fill us in on how we got to that score, Dan?
Yeah, here's the scores for the Panthers tonight. They're led by number 24, Ethan Herbert. He had 13 points. Then we had Max Anderson with 8. We had Dane Bates with 6. Grady Hayden had 4. Billy Weisenbeck had 6. Ryan Mason had 2. And Parker Olmstead will lead the team with 17 points. For the Colfax Vikings, they're led tonight by number 10, Elijah Ensminger. He had 6 points. Then we had Trey Larson with 5. We had Aiden Fisher with 5. We had Mason Yerington with 3. We had Ryan Nichols with 2. We had Blake Johnson with 2. We had Eli Ralph with 4. And we had Logan Schwartz with 4. So the final score, 55-32, Durand-Arkansaw.
You know, there aren't a whole lot of silver linings to pull out of a loss like this because basically the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers used their superior height and shooting to hand it to the Vikings tonight. But at least the Vikings had very balanced scoring. Yes, they only scored 32 points, so they didn't have anybody with super high numbers. But it was balanced. They were spreading the ball around. And they just have to, first of all, learn how to deal with teams that are taller than them and make some adjustments.
Yeah, Durand ran a 1-3-1 and a 2-3 all night. And that's all about ball speed and movement. I think if Colfax would have, I think they got a little shell-shocked when they saw Dane Bates staring at and Herbert. But if you move that ball, there's going to be openings, and there was openings. And, yeah, that's the little things to take away for further down the line.
One of the things that I noticed was when they did try to move the ball, they were in such a hurry, they weren't careful with their passes. They weren't accurate. Good grief, they could have added 6 inches to Elijah Ensminger on at least a half dozen, if not more, passes, and that still wouldn't have been enough. He had to leap high to get the ball.
Yeah, that's actually my my keys, or what I want to say, comments after the game is ball control and pace. If you could do those two things, you'll keep your turnovers down, and Colfax definitely had their turnovers tonight.
Blake Johnson did a pretty good job of dealing with Ethan Hurlburt as Hurlburt was on offense, Johnson's defense, holding Hurlburt to 13 points. He's averaging over 20 points per game, and so he held him down to 13, but somewhere along the process, Parker Olmstead kind of snuck out of there and found a way to put up 17. So if you shut down one, you got to be careful that the teeter-totter doesn't swing and the other end come up and get you.
Yeah, there's always that one player that kind of sneak out of nowhere, and you know, you can get ready for that team all you want, but if one kid gets hot, well, then you're in trouble.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we take a bit of a timeout here and see if we get Coach Knoll to come over and visit with us and talk about this one. And while we wait and find out, you're tuned to Viking Postgame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 are excited to once again be your host for Colfax High School Boys Basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season.
This is what we came in for.
Our next game will be on Saturday, December 9th, when the Vikings will travel to UW Stout to take on the Chippewa Falls MacDonnell Max in the Northwest Tip-Off Classic. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN2 begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 on Saturday, December 9th.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV is excited to once again be your host for Colfax High School Girls Basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season. Our next game will be on Friday, December 8th, when the Vikings will travel to Boyceville to take on the Boyceville Bulldogs. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN TV begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking Girls Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV on Friday, December 8th.
Hi, I'm Crystal, one of Santa's elves. Santa wanted to talk with you about a special program coming up on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. But as you can see, he's pretty busy right now, so we better not disturb him, so I'll tell you what's up. A little earlier, Santa and I got together and picked out some of the very best holiday-themed old-time radio programs, and we're going to present them to you during Santa's flight on Christmas Eve. So tune in to the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service or NLWN TV while Santa and I bring you the best in old-time radio. It all starts at 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I'll see you then.
And we're back here at Durand-Arkansaw High School, where the Vikings dropped one to the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers by a score of 55-32. Dan, your final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, they just got to put this one in the book and just get back to basics at practice, and they got a big test on Saturday.
They do, as part of the Northwest Tip-Off Classic. The Vikings will be taking on the Chippewa Falls McDonald Central Max, and of course we'll have that one for you. And that doesn't get any easier for them as they take on the Max. The only advantage to that one is it's a non-conference game, and unfortunately tonight's game was a conference game, and the Vikings got it kind of taken to them right from the get-go. And you know, they were facing some daunting tasks in more ways than one. When you're facing a wall that's 6'3", 6'6", 6'6", that makes life a little tough down underneath. And I know that Coach Knoll is really counting on being able to hit the threes, and his three-point shooters simply aren't hitting the threes.
Yeah, you know, that makes a big difference. You know, if you're going to shoot threes, you got to be on at least 30% to make a difference, and they couldn't do it tonight.
Nope, not tonight. Hey, don't forget though, we've got more basketball coming your way. Tomorrow on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and NLWN TV, we have Viking girls basketball as the girls travel to Boyceville to take on the Boyceville Bulldogs. And our live coverage will begin with Viking pregame beginning at about 6:40 p.m. That'll be followed by all the live play-by-play action. That's Colfax girls basketball tomorrow evening on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Then don't forget to join us right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 on Saturday. That's December 9th as the Viking boys travel over to the University of Wisconsin Stout to take on the McDonald Central Max as part of the Northwest Tip-Off Classic. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking boys basketball on Saturday, December 9th. Don't forget to make your plans to tune in either the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service or NLWN TV for our Christmas Gift to You 2023. We will bring you the finest and Christmas-themed old-time radio programs, and there's some really good ones in there this year. Well, there always are. And that's Christmas Eve beginning at 7 p.m. on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Tonight's Colfax Viking Boys Basketball game has been brought to you by the Colfax Animal Hospital. Let doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their friendly staff take care of your pet. C&K Construction, your concrete experts for the Chippewa Valley. Dairy State Bank, where they're banking on relationships. Midwest Environmental Consultants, soil testers for Western Wisconsin. Anderson Bridges, who have been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. Slayton's Technology, IT provider for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Menominee Eye and Optical, with quality personalized care for you and your family. And Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Comfort food the way Mom used to make it. So be sure to thank these fine sponsors for bringing you Colfax Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. So for Dan Petchow and Ann Monroe on the camera, this is Rick Olson. That final score once again is the Durand-Arkansaw Panthers 55, Vikings 32. You've been tuned to Viking Postgame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.